Advocacy. We have a great group of people that are working on a whole bunch of things. We're finding quickly that there are just not enough hours in the day to look at all the issues that come up with respect to policy and advocacy. So on the right there is a list of our primary goals, and to achieve all of these, we've started to divide and conquer. We've really set up 7 different subgroups to work on different initiatives, and we have great people leading each of these. So I'll give a quick rundown. I also did I didn't get a chance to drop it in here, but if Bunny, you want me to share my screen, I can show a few other slides of what we've been working on up to date. Well, you keep that up, not just yet, but sorry. But in a minute, let me just do a quick rundown of these, and then I'll grab the screen. Go back one, yeah. So our our main goal is we spent some time looking at the AIA Climate Action Plan, AIA National, and really tried to take the goals that are presented in that. And if you haven't read it, it's a great document, but using that as a guidebook to guide our own local and state initiatives. So that's a great document to read through. We generally support Pennsylvania legislation, and I do that through my role as the PA co-chair as well. And I'll give you a few highlights about some of the things that are going on at the state level, but trying to bridge that connection between state and local legislation is really real key to moving the needle on many things. We're tracking things on RGGI and the Department of Environmental Protection, EQB, or Environmental Quality Board, is overseeing the RGGI initiative, and I'll talk a little bit about that. We track the code development process, and also CPACE, which is happening at state and its local levels too. That's the Community Property Assessed Clean Energy, for those of you that are not aware. So it's essentially a loan program that allows owners to make energy improvements and pay for those improvements with the cost savings, the energy savings that they achieve. And it's a property assessment like a lien, so it can be transferred to a subsequent owner, which allows property owners to make longer term decisions and not have to worry about the payback period. If they put solar on and the payback period is 10 years, then they sell their house or building rather in 5 to 10 years or less than 10 years, then they can transfer that loan to the next owner. White paper policy piece, we continue to work on that. We know that we're going to be invited to Philadelphia Council working sessions to talk about decarbonization this fall. So we really want to get this lined up. So we have a paper that we can share with council members to support that. So we have a group working on that. Embodied carbon and building reuse. So this is a new initiative that we just started. We have pretty much our entire committee working on this in parallel with all the other things that we're working on. We basically have our focus is to work on embodied carbon and a lot of the great legislation that is happening in other states, we want to push for that to happen in Philadelphia. Christine Knapp had asked us to comment on that, so we really want to respond to her and show us that we're a good resource for her on these issues. But in Philadelphia, we have a lot of existing buildings, so incentivizing adaptive reuse and the reuse of existing buildings is really key to embodied carbon, getting our embodied carbon emissions down. So we want to make sure that there's legislation and programs out there that support that. And the next item there is best practices specification guide. So the Carbon Leadership Forum, CLF, started a Philadelphia group, and we have some members that are going to be a liaison with that group. We've already had some great conversations this month with folks from Carbon Leadership Forum, Lisa Conway, if you've heard of her, and Steph Carlisle. So we're very happy to be working with them and getting involved with what they're working on, and push for that specification guide, because it's really key to advancing embodied carbon in the region. City Hall Advocacy Day, we're still pushing for that event to occur this fall. So we're working diligently on that. And the last item we have is plastic producer responsibility. Marianne is really leading the charge on that, and there's a lot of interesting things that need to happen in order to get our single-use plastic use just canceled out, let's just say. So there's a lot of legislation happening federally that we're tracking. It's really, really important that we're a part of that as well. So with that, let me, if you want to pass it to me, let me share my screen. Oh, I have too many things open. Let me make this a little bigger here. So I also wanted to, of course, it shared my wrong screen here. Let me flip this. Come on. There we go. I'm going to go through a few things we've been working on to date. This is just a quick rundown of what the policy and advocacy group, both at the state and local level, has been working on. You're probably going to have to pull out the hook at some point, funny, because I could talk about all this stuff, at great length, and I also put together a slide on some current legislation that we're tracking. But feel free to take this in, and I will offer this as an invitation to everyone to come join us, because there's just a lot going on, and it's as I said, we really try our best to track a lot of these and participate and talk to our legislators, but being fluent in these issues is really key. So getting comfortable, even if you come and join us just to listen and learn, please do that, and with the hopes that you'll be comfortable enough to talk to your legislators or take on an initiative yourself. So a quick rundown of what we've been working on. AIA, the state COAT, has been working on the RGGI program, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. I will start right off. There's a lot of acronyms. State bills are very cryptic. It's an alphabet soup of things. So if you feel like you're not familiar with some of these terms, it's again another invitation to come join us. So as you get more familiar with these issues, you tend to talk in these acronyms because it's just a lot quicker. But the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative is essentially a carbon budget program, carbon cap and trade, you may say, so that emitters in Pennsylvania pay into a fund, and it will be about $300 million a year, maybe a little bit less, of money just in Pennsylvania that will be spent on emission reductions with a focus on environmental justice communities. Climate Change Advisory Committee, we have Mark Mondor and Steve Krug that are leading that at the state level for the DEP. It's just an ongoing initiative that every 3 years they have to put a report together, and that is proceeding on throughout the year with a report coming with draft reviews this summer, I believe. And it's just a great initiative with a lot of great recommendations to the state. It's happening. In January, the AIA National responded to the change to make the IECC a standard, not a code. So we were involved in reviewing that and commenting. Capitol Hill Advocacy Day, a bunch of us participated in that at the in Washington, D.C. That was part of the AIA Grassroots, which AIA Pennsylvania, along with our friends in California and Texas, Bunny and David, we did a presentation for a national audience there. February, our group had a conversation with Chris Needle, who was with the Open Air Collaborative and was a prime author of the LECLA embodied carbon law up in New York State. So that was a really illuminating conversation to support our embodied carbon initiatives. March, there was a Pennsylvania Tele-Action Day, calling your local legislators. A lot of us participated in that. March, we had a conversation with Bruce King, who's an author, structural engineer, really key to a lot of the embodied carbon legislation that's happening in California. Reggie, in March, we had an AIA Pennsylvania cross-committee town hall. We hadn't had a cross-committee town hall in a while, but we wanted to collect feedback from the housing committees, government affairs committee, a whole bunch of different Pennsylvania committees to give feedback on Reggie, so that myself and Mark Mondor could pass that feedback to the Department of Environmental Protection on the Reggie legislation or the guidelines that are coming out. That the timeline for that, they're already being released this month, and we'll be continuing on that. I'll try and race through some of these because otherwise I'll just go over my time.
Yeah, we're at about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I knew it.
But wrap up.
Yeah, I'll wrap up. So some of these are duplicated. Like I said, CLF starting a Philadelphia chapter that we're involved with. May, we continue to have those conversations with CLF that I already mentioned. Of course, May is our, next Monday, this coming Monday is our Spring into Action event. I think I had a slide on that. So be sure you register for that if you haven't already. And we also have some other great events coming up on CPACE. And with that, I'm not going to even go into all these, but you can see that there's an alphabet soup. Senator Comita at our Spring into Action event on Monday is going to talk about some of these. So if you want to learn more about this great legislation that we're tracking, and also understand how some counter legislation is out there, and how we're aligning and partnering up to oppose those, certainly come join us on Monday, but definitely join our committee. So with that.